Sup folks, this is Dan from Discern, and these are my thoughts on the new track from Tauren Wells, Love is Action. Toren Wells is a pop singer and artist who kicked off his solo career just this year with his debut single, Undefeated, a hip-hop heavy track with a feature verse from KB. That track was a bit of a departure from his previous background as the lead singer for the now disbanded pop rock group Royal Taylor. This track featured a heavier dose of rap verses than Toren had utilized in the past. And now, under his solo career, he's gearing up to release an EP this year, later this year. This new single, Love is Action, is a departure a little bit from the sound of that single Undefeated. It sort of feels like an electronic dance version of the pop stylings from Royal Taylor. There's no rap verses here. There's no slick rhymes. Not even very flavorful production. It's a dance pop track, plain and simple. Now, before I jump into this, let me preface it with a general statement about this track and some background information. Firstly, I thoroughly did not like this track. Almost entirely, from front to back, I was turned off by it. Honestly, it became like nails on a chalkboard to me, and that goes for both the music and the lyrics. Now, secondly, I want to give you some context. Why am I even reviewing this track if I disliked it so much? You may be thinking that. Well, a review, is nothing more than examining and assessing something. So I listened to this track numerous times, like 10 to 15 times, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it, because that's what I do on this channel. So if you feel differently, I encourage you, leave your own review in the comments below. Let me know how you feel. Okay, let's do this. The sound and style of this song is robotic, synthetic, technologically influenced. Almost every sound is morphed and molded and crafted in a seeming attempt to match an overly commercial dance pop recipe. The sound of his voice and his melodies are animatronic at times, overly meticulous and orderly in tonal precision. His vocal melodies ebb and flow like someone doing the robot, that herky-jerky antithesis of a smooth dance move. It is how the vocals are at times, like on the transition to the chorus or on the hook. It's twitchy, it's rigid. Honestly, on the hook, it sounds like he just sampled his vocals and pitch shifted them into a melody. And on the topic of his voice, it has this irritating, wispy gloss and sheen to it. It's as if his vocals are just another synthesizer in the mix, perfectly performed, with machine-like accuracy. And I find this overproduction an unnecessary direction to take this song in if his vocal skill is half as good as we're made to believe. And if you've heard Royal Taylor in the past, or frankly any other music within this radio pop genre, aren't vocals supposed to be the crown jewel here? I mean, he's singing as if it's the centerpiece. He's doling out these vocal riffs and embellishments after almost every line. So why is there a need to sterilize the performance by an overuse of post-production cleaning and effects? I mean, soul and R&B music, where vocal playfulness runs wild, is at its most jaw-dropping when the recordings are so raw and so directly engaging, you can't help but be moved. I mean, the personality of the vocal performance just reaches out and grips you. But here, the nuance and the flair of the vocals are completely obliterated by the dance pop hive of beats and synths, and the studio makeup that was just globbed all over the track in an attempt to beautify it. This track is also dynamically rigid. It's all out all the time, or at least that's the facade. It's a fake hype that's created by an overly compressed sound. The whole track just feels like it's a constant block of sound waves, consistently nearly at the same volume. And this contributes, to the droning nails on a chalkboard, incessantly partying sound. After a few listens to this track, I feel like everybody's passed out at a rave, and this is just stuck on repeat. A never-ending party anthem. The kick drum never stops. There's also a seemingly uncountable amount of synth and cymbal roll type swells and crescendos. It's as if every few measures needs a transition into the next few measures. There's a couple of lyrical phrases, and then swoosh, it goes into the next few phrases, and then the end of a verse comes up, and swish, we're into the pre-chorus, and then the pre-chorus ends, and whoosh, it's a swell into the chorus, and swishes and swooshes and wishes and whooshes. It's like it's all trying to carry me off every 5 seconds, lift me into the clouds continuously. These transitions are all over the place. It's like the background music on a bad reality TV show. Every 10 seconds, there's another rush of sonic wind to sweep you into the next musical number. It's trying to distract you and keep you entertained at every turn. It's trying to turn a poor arrangement of a few decent melodic ideas into a fully workable song. These transitions, just mesh pieces together. And I actually don't think it does a very good job of meshing them together, because the synth crescendo whirlwinds really break the song up into noticeable chunks. The song feels like chopped up plug and play pieces. You have an intro, a verse, a pre-chorus, a chorus, a hook, another verse, a bridge, an outro. They all have their own melody and own tone, sort of. And the pieces just feel like they were slid next to each other, and these iMovie style stock transitions were just grafted between them. And they're not all, I guess, whooshes of air in a sense. Some of them are more a little bit of silence that carries you into the next one, a gap, or there's a little bit of a synthesizer trickling upwards or downwards or whatever. But with all these pieces and how they mesh together in a sense, the arrangement ends up being barely passable because it doesn't feel arranged at all. The song doesn't go anywhere, doesn't do anything. It's just a collection of musical ideas and melodic moments that feel shoddily glued together in order to fabricate a song. And you may be thinking, this song doesn't feel broken in chunks or poorly arranged. You may be thinking the song sounds unified, sounds consistent throughout. The verse fits with the chorus complements the hook, and those play off each other nicely. Well, folks, there's a huge reason why. The beat and the chord progression do not change for the entire song. I am not kidding. It is the same, other than a few little frills and added pieces on top and below in a sense. But the framework, the beat, the groove, and the chord progression does not change. The only time it changes is for the first half of the bridge, and that part is only different because the beat and the main chord-changing instrument, the bass, drop out. And then when they come back in, they're the same. Other than that, it's like this song has OCD. It cannot seem to move on. Just stuck, repeating. All right, enough of my whining about the music. Let's tackle the lyrics. In summation, the lyrics are also not good. They're creatively hackneyed, they're thematically open-ended to the point of ambiguity, and they're theologically mindless, if not dangerous. And since I could spend a whole 30-minute video on the lyrics alone, I'm just going to tackle these three features. Firstly, the creative aspect. I submit that it is practically impossible for the lyrics in this song to be interesting or extraordinary because of the absolutely ordinary and unexceptional uses of commonplace pop and CCM lyrical expressions. Breaking through the darkness, walls come down, nothing's gonna stop us, just to name a few. And if the exact phrasing isn't something you feel like you've heard before, certainly the themes are. Let's turn it up, tell the world what we're about. Walking out our faith, giving everything. What we've been waiting for, or what have we been waiting for, sorry. These lyrical stereotypes are everywhere you turn. And I'm sorry, but why would I find something ordinary to be extraordinary. These lyrics must have taken no time at all to write. Just listen to Christian radio, listen to some pop music, and just cherry pick some phrases. I mean, it sounds that typical. Secondly, the ambiguity of the lyrics. I can't say that I know for sure why artists and bands write such general and vague lyrics sometimes, pointing to formless problems and usually seeing them fixed by some quasi-love. And in Christian music, there's often a few references to deity, maybe saying God or Jesus, but still thematically fixated on a simple good and bad paradigm. It often has a moral to the message, like Aesop's fables. And in this song, the theme is as bare bones as love means doing something, and primarily doing something for Jesus. It's about all you can gather from it. The first verse basically says, you got to go out there and do something. The pre-chorus is just a mini hype session for the chorus, which says, give it your all, do it with all your heart, do it for God. The second verse says, we're gonna go love, we're gonna love in Jesus' name, it's for Him. And the bridge is just another hype session. What is this song actually talking about? Do I just pick anything at all, go give it my all, go try to love today, go do something for Jesus? I mean, how ridiculously vague, how unengaging to a listener. It just comes across as babbling from like a bad motivational speaker. There's a whole lot of something being said, but what is it? I mean, what do you mean by change the world? You say, tell the world what we're about. Well, what are you about? Lights breaking through the darkness. What darkness? What is that symbolizing? And the catchphrase of the whole thing, love is action, you really mean that the one main theme that you want to get across in this song is that love does something? Like I shouldn't just feel it, I should do it. Love does something? That's still incredibly vague, That's like fortune cookie vague. Do something loving today. Okay, thank you. Anyway, the final and most frustrating aspect of the lyrics is its theological lunacy and near biblical illiteracy. There are numerous theological problems in the specifics, such as the phrases, hands reaching up towards heaven, hearts ready for what's next, as if that's the apparent meaning of being filled with the Spirit, or the phrase, walking out our faith, which has been misused by legalists for decades to practically mean earning our salvation. Or more generally, in the overwhelming attitude and focus on the self, our actions, our love, our passion, our faith, rather than focusing on the love and actions and passion of Jesus. That's probably the biggest miss in the lyrics of this song. The song is called Love is Action, and it fails to mention how Jesus Christ showed His love to us in what 1 John 4:10 says is the definition of love. In this is love, not that we have loved God, but that He loved us and sent His Son to be the propitiation for our sins. He died that we might live. That is love in action. And how on earth can you fail to include that in your Christian song about love in action? What even makes this song Christ-centered? What makes this song Christian? The love part, the part where he talks about faith, the singular mention of the name Jesus. I mean, the central core of Christianity is the gospel, the work of Jesus Christ for sinners like you and like me. And if a song can be primarily about love and not even for one verse reflect on the love that Christ has shown to us in His life, death, and resurrection, how can you even call this song Christian? I mean, honestly, this song probably better is described as deistic moralism. Anyway, a few things in closing. I have listened to Royal Taylor before. I have listened to the previous single from Tauren Wells, Undefeated. To sort of show all my cards, I did not like almost anything from Royal Taylor, and I thought Undefeated was not the greatest, but definitely a more exciting direction for his music. I do think Tauren Wells is a talented vocalist. I just think his artistic output has been mediocre at best. And if you've listened to Royal Taylor before, you can probably guess that much of my musical and lyrical beefs that I had with this song, I probably have with much of their discography. Yeah, that's actually correct. So if you're wondering, maybe he just doesn't like this style of music, that's probably true too, actually. But I don't think that invalidates my opinion. Because I'll be honest, this song, it made me dig deep for why I disliked it so much. Beyond the general style, beyond the genre, I had this gut level reaction of no, 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 not good. Like right away. But I had to really, dig in and discern why that actually was. I'm serious when I say I will give any music an honest listen. And with this track, I think I did that. I gave it a handful of spins. I thought through it. I read the lyrics. I now know why I don't like it. This would not be a helpful review if I just say, it sucked, and I don't detail why I feel that way. Because to be honest, if you can't explain why you feel a certain way, you probably aren't thinking very deeply about it, or you're just lazily reacting out a Pavlovian response. You hear pop music and mentally vomit. Hopefully that's not what I did here. I'm trying to be critical and open-minded. I'm trying to be fair and assess the music without bias, without personally attacking Toren, who I don't know. But fair is fair. It cuts both ways when the music is good and when it's not so good. So there are links in the description for you to listen to this song yourself, for you to formulate your own opinion. There's also a link to Tauren Wells' Twitter for those of you who are interested. Thank you for watching this track review. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. New track reviews just like this release every Wednesday, and new album reviews release every Friday. If you have a question or a comment for me about this track or not about this track, you can comment below this video. You could tweet at me at discernreviews, or you could send me an email, discernreviews@gmail.com. Have you listened to this track from Tauren Wells? What do you think about it? What do you think about the musical style? What do you think about the lyrics? If you haven't listened to this song, go do so. Give it some thought. Take a walk. Come back. Formulate your thoughts into a cohesive sentence or multiplicity of sentences that we call a paragraph. Drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think. All right. Thanks again for watching. I hope this helps. See ya.